Hi, everyone. Today's guest on Why Do Pets Matter is Dr. Marlene Siegel. She is a veterinarian who decided to shift her practice a little and become a bioregulating medical person who finds the root cause of disease. We had the most interesting conversation. I can't wait for you to hear it. Let's see what Dr. Marlene and I talked about. Hi, I'm Deborah Hamilton. Welcome to my podcast, Why Do Pets Matter? 10 years ago, with my iPhone and a script, I recorded the first episode of the Ultimate Pet Resolution Summit, which chatted with experts about conflicts over animals. Our conversations were intimate, honest, and illustrated how disagreements over animals occur and how those disagreements can reshape people's lives and relationships. In November 2019, I started Why Do Pets Matter, a new podcast that continued these informative discussions. I'm so excited to have you here with me, continuing my exploration into a more meaningful conversation about why pets matter to all of us. My guests and I will share ideas, stories, and experiences straight from the heart, unscripted and holistic. From the bravest moments to the most brokenhearted, we will explore how to resolve disagreements over animals differently. One thing I know for sure is I want to have more meaningful conversations that will help all of us unlock that deeply felt human-animal bond that drives the emotions of conflict. Hi, everyone. It's Deborah Hamilton, and you're on the Why Do Pets Matter podcast. Remember to like us and give us 5 stars and share us because we are putting out some really incredible content. And today I am so thrilled to have Dr. Marlene Siegel here. She is a veterinarian, but also an integrative veterinarian who works in bioregulatory medicine. She looks for the root cause of your pet's dis-ease, not disease, but dis-ease. Marlene, thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, it's such an honor to be here, Deborah, and I'm very excited to share with your audience a really interesting twist.
Oh, well, I'm really glad. And of course, our first question, our only question is, why do pets matter to you, Marlene? And so, why do pets matter to you?
So I'm going to set up a scenario. We always want to try to find out purpose. Why are we here on Earth? Each of us, each and every person has to, at some point in their life, question, why am I here? Why did I come in? What's my purpose? And in my quest to get those answers, one of the things that I have come to believe is that we are literally living in a hologram. So let's pretend this is true. Let's pretend we're in a hologram. And in this hologram, it is our opportunity to learn, experience, to grow, to have ascension. And in order to have that, you're going to have clues, or you're going to have little helpers, things that will allow you to find the answers as you start to seek. And so for me, I think that all of nature and the animals hold the answers to the question, who are we, why are we here, and what is our purpose? And interestingly enough, there is a new biology where scientists study how plants and animals and insects, how do they survive in the world? And then they model after those insects or animals solutions for man's problems. So things that we have created, they come up with the solutions. As an example, there is a protein that is made by clamshells, which helps them to stop making the clamshell. Well, one of the problems in plumbing, in the piping of cities, is they get stalagmites and stalactites that develop in the pipes, which are calcium carbonate. So they went to this company and they said, why is it that clams stop growing? How can we stop? The solution was, how do we stop getting these stalactites and stalagmites of calcium carbonate growing in the pipes? Because then it occludes the water passage and then they have to dig the pipes up and it's a big problem. And so they studied the clams and oysters and such, and they found that they have a DNA that tells them when to turn off the production of calcium carbonate. And they took that DNA and they put that into the water systems, and lo and behold, we don't make calcium carbonate in the water pipes anymore. So just as an example that this is a real thing. And what I think is that our pets, the animals, nature, everything is there to provide the solutions and answers that we need for survival. So let's see how that actually plays out. Look at bees. You know, bees, our honeybees pollinate more than 70% of our food supply. And when we look at how bees behave, and I have beehives, so I'm telling you, it is the most amazing thing ever. They work in cooperation. They work for the good of the hive. They provide for the queen. They go out and forage and they communicate with each other through pheromones. It's an amazing system. Trees communicate through the soil, through their roots and the fungi in the soil. They talk to each other. They let each other know if there's a problem, if they're getting crowded, if somebody needs to leave. They literally communicate. Now, let's look at what our pets do for us. When we are really, really sad, very upset, what happens? Our pets come over. If it's a cat, they probably jump in your lap. If it's a dog, they either jump in your lap if they're small, or they come and sit next to you and they take their head and they nudge under your hand so that you have to start petting them. And then what happens is we, without thinking, we start to pet or hold or cry on their shoulder, and then we start to feel better.
Yeah.
What's happening is a physics principle called entrainment. When two energies come together, they start to share their energies and they come to an equilibrium. So there's a little ball game where these 5 balls are hanging from a string, and then you knock them into each other and they're chaotic for a couple of seconds. And then within a minute, they're starting to sway and they share energy. And they would go forever if it wasn't for the friction of air.
We're peeing ourselves because
Right.
the toy we had when we were younger. Yep.
Exactly what it was. I don't know what it was called, but it was, the 5 balls hanging down.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
use that as an example of entrainment because you literally within a minute you see that all these balls are moving together. So we entrain to our pets, which is a physics principle. Any pet owner will understand what we're talking about. And it's not that we're giving them our junk. It's almost like they're saying, here, I have a big shoulder, and I'm here to help you navigate this very heavy third dimension. It's dense, like we're in physical form.
Right.
So they're helping to, in one aspect, make life lighter for us. So when we're with our animals and we're walking them, they're making us feel happier. They're helping us to move and exercise because we're taking them out. But there's another layer here that many people don't talk about, and this is the one that I was headed to. And it's that our pets on an energetic level are also part of our soul family. So these animals that are in your life are not an accident and they're not a coincidence. The fact that they are in your life at this time in your life with whatever challenges they bring forward, there's a lot of significance there. And it's when we are able to start peeling back the layers and going, I wonder what that means. What is the connection? And we find that pets that have cancers in particular parts of their body will also be a reflection or a mirror or an opening to a discussion for the pet parent. So when we're working with our patients, I actually have other people that are in the emotional healing realm that work with the pet parent to help uncover what is the deeper message, what's the blockage. So no matter where the problem is, there is a metaphorical relationship and information that we can derive. Everything in the world, everything has a metaphorical relationship. And when we start to play the game and say, okay, I'm going to play the game. And let's say I have a knee problem. Well, what does the knee represent? It's part of our support system. It's part of our ability to move forward in life. It's part of the ability to make a decision to go forward versus staying in the same spot or going backwards or falling down. So when we start to actually put it together and think, yes, it's a physical experience and it's amazing, but on the energetic side, on the emotional, mental side? What is the bigger picture? And one more thing I just want to mention is that we've all, as adults, experienced the trauma, the drama. We've all had challenges. And how we choose to navigate that challenge will determine where we end up on the other side. Are we going to end up as a victim, or are we going to end up as a victor? Are we going to learn and grow from that experience, or are we going to stay stuck in it? So for me, what pets represent, they are the clue. They are the play the concentration game and uncover a tile and figure out what is the clue that they're giving us: trapped emotions, dis-ease, pathways that we have to clear, blockages that it's time to get rid of. So that's what the pets represent to me. And then my part back to them is honoring them with not only getting the message, but then also helping them to deliver that message and complete their purpose as well.
I love that because I know that we've talked before, and when we talked the last time, it was so wonderful because I went home. I am home, but I went back to the one dog I have. I've had so many over the years, and as we talked before, and as you're talking now, I'm reminded that every single dog in each of the phases of my life were quite different. They were all Irish setters. But they were quite different. Some were long-haired dachshunds, and they were quite wild. But you're absolutely right. It seems as if when we need them the most, they know it.
Mm-hmm.
And the work that you're doing, which is above and beyond your original practice, which was veterinary medicine, you've taken sort of a complete launch to a new area that gives you the ability to help pets and their parents or their owners or their guardians, whatever you want to call them. I always call mine my kids, so I guess I'm their parent, but I don't have red hair. I wish I did. You do, and I'm very jealous. But it seems to me that this is a practice now that you're in, which requires a great deal of active listening to both the pet and the parent, and communication. You have to ask really curious questions. Tell me a little bit more about how you decided to make the shift. I think there was an event in your life that you decided, no, I'm not going to take that as the final answer. Not the final answer. You did more information finding and gathering and realized this was sort of your purpose. You decided to shift for a different purpose that really opened up this avenue for you.
Absolutely. And I encourage people to also explore those avenues. So for me, I always was intuitive. I didn't know what that meant because you are who you are, and you don't realize that
Different.
people don't have those same talents and skills. But information would come to me, the ability to, uh, I guess, manifest, which I didn't even realize at the time what that was. But so I had that ability to begin with. And then I knew from the time I was born, I even as a child, I played with stuffed animals. I didn't play with dolls. And so I was always determined I was going to be a veterinarian. And even in elementary school, my elementary classmates would bring me their sick animals. I'm not sure why. I don't even know how that got started. And I would walk up to the veterinarian 3 blocks away, and he would take care of them for free and give me the medicine, and I would treat them, and then I would release them. And so I was doing this, like, really, I came into this incarnation knowing that that's what I was going to do. But there was another level. And even though I had a lot of interesting experiences along the way, when it is your time to move forward, God, the universe, does not take no for an answer. And so you keep getting this impasse put in front of you. Well, this particular one was my youngest daughter and one of my show horses were involved in a riding accident. And the horse ended up rearing in the air, and my daughter, without realizing it, was pulling the horse over backwards because she was using the reins to try to balance so she didn't fall off. And she was pulling the horse over backwards. The number one cause of a rider's death is a horse crushing the rider when it lands on him. So 50-pound child, 2,000-pound horse, that could have been a disaster. But the
Well,
horse, as she realized that she was being pulled over backwards, literally squatted on her left hind leg and pushed herself as hard as she could in the moment with everything that was happening to the opposite side of where my daughter was starting to slide off the saddle. When they hit the ground, you could not see space between horse and rider. Lily, the horse, was able to catch her breath and she got up. It all happened in seconds, but it felt like an eternity. And my daughter was still on the ground, not moving. So I did not know if she had been crushed or not. We jump over the rail. I'm heading to my daughter. I get there. She hears my voice. She opens her eyes and I said, "Are you okay?" And by the grace of God, let me tell you, this child was not hurt at all, except for her pride.
Right.
So we thought that was the end of the incident, but it wasn't. Back home, there were several more episodes where it looked like she was having a seizure going up her neck, the horse. And when I had equine veterinarians come out to try to evaluate her, the bottom line was, we don't know what's wrong with her. She's never going to be safe to ride again. And you can put her out to a pasture or you can put her down. And it was those words that were my trigger that I was not willing to accept. This horse had saved my daughter's life without a doubt. And I was not willing to not save that horse. I was going to fix that horse, and this little team was going to go on and do what they were going to do. She was a 7-year-old United States National Open champion and a Canadian National Open champion. And yet she could take my 10-year-old around the arena as safe as you could ask for. So that was not an option to say pasture or euthanasia. I was going to fix that horse. But that also made me make a commitment to my clientele and my pet patients that I would never utter those words. There's nothing more that can be done. And for the next, now it's going on almost 20 something years, I have maintained that commitment. Only one time did I start to waver, and then I took a deep breath and I said, no, I made the commitment. And even in the hardest of times, I'm going to follow through. And I did. So, what the moral of the story is we are here for a bigger purpose. We're here to make the world a better place. Sometimes if you talk to different people on the spiritual side, they'll say that you're the only thing on a quantum level, you're the only thing in the universe. And then you have your hologram, and somehow my hologram intersects with Deborah's hologram and other people's. But you're actually, every part of the hologram is you. So in whatever parallel universes, time, space, dimensions, I have played every role. I've been the villain, and I have been the one victimized, and I have been the savior, and I have been the whatever. We play all of these roles. To me, I think what the part of the game is how, in today's day and age, how are we going to play the game differently? Are we going to choose to experience the experience in a different way? Are we going to choose to experience it from love and compassion and kindness and generosity? Or are we going to hurt back through victimhood and shame and blame? Everybody has the choice. And I see our animals as the mechanism to be able to teach this to other people. So through the pet that comes through my door, as I connect to that animal and as I understand what they're bringing to this experience for their pet parent, it's very quickly I can see the healing and the learning that the pet parent has the option to have. Now, not everybody wants to experience that. So those are usually my 1-star reviews. And that's fine. Like, this is not everybody's going to be ready at the same time to make those shifts. But I
Yeah.
really do believe that this is a time-space dimension where we have the opportunity to bring healing to the world in a way we've never experienced before. Just think about the fact that 30 years ago, we didn't even mention the word metaphysical. Nobody even knew what that was. I didn't know what it was until I was in my 40s. So look at how far we've come. Now we have people meditating and doing yoga, and we talk about mind, body, spirit. These were never discussions that we ever had when I was growing up. Now we're actually looking at the world around us as information. We can learn from nature how to fix the problems that we've created from our own ego. We can look at the animals and see what is the metaphysical relationship, what is the analogy that we can learn based on what they're showing us. Is it nervous system dysregulation? Is it unwillingness to let go of certain fears? Even just understanding the organs in the body from Chinese medicine. The kidneys and the bladder are all about fear, and the liver is about anger and frustration, et cetera, et cetera. So we can look at the pieces of the puzzle around us, and we have information, and then we get to choose, what do we want to do with that information? Do I want to become a better person, or do I want to stay stuck where I am at?
I think that's the biggest question, because when we are surrounded by our animals, they often give us the opportunity to make a choice,
Yeah.
to decide whether or not to get up and take a walk, to decide whether or not to pet them. I mean, I know that my dog, after an hour, if I'm sitting here, he will always come over and go, excuse me, it's time to get up. And I know he's saying that. And sometimes I'll say, I can't really get up right now. I have back-to-back calls. And yet he'll be like, yeah, but you're not supposed to. I mean, I can actually hear him tell me. Now, I don't know that my other dogs were ever that clear to me. And it probably was, I wasn't a receptor, not that they weren't sending the message. They probably were. I probably was just too busy with everything that was going on. In my life, the same kind of event happened that shifted me from where I had been in litigation and being a lawyer and loving that life and winning, to deciding that the pets are too important to people to fight in court over them. And that might seem counterintuitive, because, of course, I'm going to fight in court to save the animals. And I'm like, but the animals wouldn't do that in their own life. They would choose to figure out a way to survive that is thoughtful, and they do a workaround, for lack of a better way to say it. They'll do a workaround where we just see black and white. They see multiple colors or multiple possibilities. I loved when you talked about the bees, because the bees have such a difficult time now, and more people are having bees, if they have the right situation, the right, area, climate. I was sitting the other day and a bunch of bees were pollinating, and within a milli-inch of me, and my husband goes, "Oh, watch out, there's a bee." I said, "I'm not bothering him. He's not bothering me. He's doing his hard work." I said, "He is." And you just feel it. If you have that ability, you just feel it. And it's whether or not, as you said, you want to let it in, or you want to go, "Oh my God, they're both talking about that weird stuff." But quite frankly, that weird stuff can make you feel so much better. I mean, that's the dis-ease that you're able to identify or to treat, because you're able to think about other than black and white.
Yeah. There's so much wisdom if we just took a breath and we looked at the situation as if we were not in the story, but observing the story. Like when we watch a movie, we're not in the movie, but we might have emotional reactions because there's a boogeyman around the corner, somebody has a gun, whatever. But you're not in the story. But in our lives, we get stuck in our story, and then we can't seem to get above the story so that we can look at it as an observer and say, isn't that interesting? What did I create XYZ for? And I'll just give you a quick example. Recently, last year, I really hurt my back. I mean, to the point where I missed my first day at work. I didn't even miss work to have children. I went in, saw my cases, went, had the baby, came back. So I was in so much pain, I couldn't move. And this went on for 3 or 4 days. I had to leave for a conference in a week, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta fix this. And about 4 days in, all of a sudden I went, wait a minute. I've addressed everything on the physical plane, but I did not address the emotional side. So I started doing the work that I know how to do and identifying what is the emotion that I'm experiencing. And I had said, Deborah, multiple times, it feels like somebody is stabbing me in the back. And I would put my hand right on the spot where above my sacroiliac, where it felt like somebody took a knife and was stabbing me in the back. And it took 4 days of me being in the story to go, oh my gosh, I haven't addressed the emotional part. So I went through and I identified that it was betrayal. So what I did is, through a technique that I use, I went through a forgiveness of betrayal through the other person, and I literally had over 200 100 people that came to mind where there was a form of betrayal to me, but I also forgave myself for whatever part I played in the story. So I did forgiveness for both sides. I was about an hour into doing this. I'm laying flat on my back and I'm doing this work. And I swear to goodness, a black cloud lifted off my abdomen. And I'm just sitting there going, gosh, I wish I had a camera because it was so clear. And when that cloud lifted off, I kept going through more names. It was like, my gosh, how many episodes of betrayal did I have to go through before I finally got to the awareness that this was a theme in my life. And my purpose was to experience it differently. And almost always it's in the form of forgiveness. And my pain was gone in 48 hours.
That is so impactful because there have been people in my life that I just feel as if I need to forgive them and forgive myself. And when I do that, I feel so much better. Thankfully, I haven't gotten to the place where I had a backache, but I've had hip replacements and knee replacements. So I've had so much that I've had to do to recover from those. But it's the ability to take a moment and breathe. I know you and I both talked last time about how important it is to breathe. When you are really feeling as if, holy Toledo, breathing, and it's so funny that people don't appreciate how important it is if you're feeling that stuff to breathe and recognize it and say, okay, I'm just going to decide whether or not this is important in my life. And if it is important in my life, then I'm going to figure out the workaround, right? Like the bees, the workaround. Or I'm going to let it go like you did, the black cloud. It left. Because these are things, and it's a little woo-woo. And I get it if anyone's listening going, oh my God, uh, trust us. This really does help. And you just, I guess, the skeptics, right? We would just have to say to them, just start with breathing.
Yeah. I think I want to share with the audience that there are actually five energy bodies. Our pets have them, we have them. So I'm going to use my hand.
Mhm.
And this is our spiritual body. This is our connection to higher consciousness, to source energy, to God. Then we go down into our mental body. And I want to point out that they're connected, right? So that the hand is a very good analogy. So you go from your spiritual body into your mental body. Your mental body is where your thoughts are. And then from the thoughts, you go into your emotional body. What's interesting is when you take a thought and you marry it to an emotion, that becomes your belief system. So it isn't that it's right or wrong, it's just what you believe to be the association between the thought and the emotion. Then you go down into the etheric body, and then from the etheric body, everything gets put together like the machinery shop, and you come out into your physical body. So we're never just one thing. We're always connected to all. And so when we have a belief system, sometimes it's coming up sort of like your computer. If you wanted to delete files, your computer hard drive is so full and you can't put any more information in, and you open your computer and you just yell at it and say, delete, delete, delete. It's not going to delete anything. You have to physically turn it on, select a file, and then hit the delete button. And Deborah, as everybody knows, when you hit the delete button on your computer comes back and says, are
Are
you
you
sure?
sure?
Are you sure? Can't undo this one.
Right.
And so you have to say yes or no. This is a lot of our emotional release technique that we work on is first and foremost identifying the belief that you no longer need. If that belief is serving you a purpose and it's helping you, by gosh, don't get rid of it. Keep using it and enhance it. But if it's a belief system that is holding you back, if it's restricting you, if it's keeping you stuck, this is the computer giving you the opportunity to say, do you want to delete it? And then it's as simple as saying yes or no. And if it's a yes, there are so many amazing practitioners who can help with shifting that belief and replacing it with one that serves you better. So for me, I had this entire pattern of betrayal. Most people have it all the way from childhood. And as I finally recognized that it was a pattern and I did not want to keep it, I released it, but it had to stabbing me in the back. How cool was that? And no more. It was totally gone. I traveled the week later, and it was so interesting that I had suffered so hard, and then I let go of the black veil and it's gone. And we could go on with hundreds of stories like that. And we do it for our clients as well. So when that animal is coming in and helping us to get to that core belief system or belief systems that that parent is being asked to look at, and for many pet parents, it's shame, blame, and guilt.
And that's perpetuated sometimes in our pets' care because, you know, the big elephant in the room is now the cost of veterinary care. And how do you maintain that? And how do you take care of it? And should you only own a pet if you can pay for its care? And I think you and I both feel that pets are too important to our basic good life to limit them only to people who can pay for gold standard care. And there are other ways to care for pets and to pay for the care of pets that really haven't been explored or haven't been offered, which makes it a little difficult because we want to be able to do the best for our pets. And that conversation, which is so hard to have, is the most important one to have. And I'm sure you have it with your clients all the time. What can we do together that will make you feel better and the pet feel better?
The answer is so obvious and so simple. We need to get rid of fast, cheap, and convenient lifestyle, and we need to get back to understanding our root health and have critical thinking to be able to make decisions that help our body to survive better.
Mhm.
Eating a species appropriate diet, drinking highly filtered, structured water, getting rid of hormones, chemicals, pesticides, glyphosate, plastic, all mycotoxins. We need to get rid of the things that are interrupting and disrupting our biological pathways. So that's a choice. That doesn't even cost anything. That is simply making better choices. If you have a carnivore, dog and cats are obligate carnivores, dogs are scavenger carnivores, then commit to feeding them the way a carnivore needs to eat. And that is not processed foods. Processed foods isn't good for us. We can see what it's doing to the health of at least the United States. We're the most unhealthy nation, I think, in the entire world at this point. What do we need to do? We need to make better choices. We need to vote with our dollars. We need to say no to the things that are damaging Mother Earth, our pets, and our own personal bodies. And it's that simple. But I am, 30 years into this tirade where there's 99% no plastic in my household because microplastics are destroying our oceans and destroying our bodies. We actually do testing. We're the only hospital in the entire world testing animals for microplastics. And we have found that the animals have double the amount of microplastics than humans have. Now, we're not supposed to have any. So the average human has around 21 particles of plastic in their body, whether they inhaled it, whether they ingested it. Animals are double that, Deborah. So imagine that is doing to their body. And then mycotoxins, which are the toxic byproduct of mold, and it's in processed foods, which if you're feeding a kibble diet, you're almost guaranteed. I just had a cancer patient. I got their mycotoxins back. All five that we tested for, all off the charts. We're getting these toxins, but we're allowing this
Because
work
now
to
we
quit
don't know.
us, right? If we quit buying the things that are toxic, companies wouldn't keep making them. If everybody boycotted Monsanto and Bayer, Bayer now bought Monsanto, if we boycotted all of their products and we quit spraying them on our lawns and we quit using it in our agriculture, they would go out of business. The only reason they're there is because we keep supporting them.
Yeah, because it's quick, easy, and
Fast.
you don't have to think about it. Yeah, it's fast and easy. Absolutely. I know I've been cooking for the dogs and it takes time and people are like, well, I really don't have time. And in the olden days,
I want to speak to that because we all have the same number of hours in a day. It's how we choose to spend it. Are you sitting down in front of the boob tube? Are you immersed in social media? Are you distracted with stuff that is meaningless? Or are you doing something valuable with your time, which does not mean you have to work the whole time. I have a food forest. Now, this is me. I just choose to spend my time that way, but I live in a literal food forest that I planted every single plant except for the hitchhikers, they came in. But my point is, I created this food forest around my house. And so 360 degrees around just a third of an acre, I literally have a massive amount of food. It's a lot of work. I have to go, I hand weed my entire lawn. Obviously, you don't do the whole thing in one day, but every weekend I'll pick another section and I'll work on that. And it's planting, it's trimming, it's harvesting. But what it does for my soul, I get energy, I get sun, vitamin D. I'm exposed to a massive amount of microbes because every time I pull a plant or a weed, there are millions of microbes that I am aerosolizing and getting on my skin and breathing in. These are phenomenal parts that help my body to survive. So the physical exercise, the sun, and then the joy in my heart as I look at a tree that's producing. I just harvested sugar apples, and they're one of my favorite fruits. And literally touching that tree and giving thanks and gratitude and coming in and harvesting black beans and just, I can go on and on. I just harvested bananas and the joy of eating a banana that ripened on a tree. When we have service people come in or I take some to the office and I share it with my clients, people have never eaten a banana that actually ripened on a tree. They go, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to describe it because in our mind we were told what a yellow banana should taste like. And somehow we have a memory of it, but we really don't taste it
Yeah.
until you really taste a banana. So we all have the same amount of time. We just have to choose how we spend it. Now, when you are cooking your meals and you're sharing with family and you're present, another thing that our animals teach us how to be present, it changes the dynamics in your life. You start seeing things in a totally different way. You start having gratitude and joy and peace and bliss because you're creating it instead of running around like the chicken with the head cut off and you're never catching up to your back end and you're staying in high sympathetic tone, high stress, always producing adrenaline, always stressed out, always sleep deprived. That's a choice.
Yeah.
You can choose a different lifestyle and you will actually be more abundant and happier and more productive than you can imagine by just modeling our pets. They're present, they're joyful, they live in the moment, and they don't worry about what happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future. They're right here, right now, and they're breathing.
Yeah. And as humans, we often say, yes, but I have to worry about tomorrow and I have to worry about next week and I have to worry about next month. And I think that recognizing the value in being present, the value in experiencing it and fully understanding what's happening today will inform what happens tomorrow and next week and next month if you take the time to really be present.
Get off your computer, get off your cell phone, and turn off the television. Go
Yeah.
outside, be with your family, engage in activity, be with people, start appreciating the world around you. Even if this is an exercise that I teach people to do, and I do it every morning, is the moment I become aware, I start going through the things that I am grateful for in this moment, the things I was grateful for yesterday, and the things that I'm looking forward to today. You just start with that. And then I do my breath work. And then I do a short meditation, usually 10 or 15 minutes. And then I do some fascia release work. And then I start my day. So it's not hard. We just have to choose how do you want to show up. And as I round into my 70s, I have no desire to age ungracefully. I have, thank God, no health issues. And I live a life that we just hosted 10 people retreat in my house this past weekend. And people were looking at me going, how do you do all this? Like, I don't understand how you can do all this. And it's simply because I'm present and I'm productive. Now, if I want to take a break, if I find joy in closing my eyes or meditating or reading a book or whatever that is, I do that, but I'm doing it with intention. I'm doing it not because I have to or because I'm so stressed. It's because I want to.
Some people feel like, well, I have to give myself permission to do that. And I think that's the wrong mindset to have when you're choosing you. You shouldn't think that I have to, well, okay, I'll let myself do this, or okay, I'll let myself do that. No, that should be really built into your day
Yes.
because, yes, we all have to do certain things, and there are times when we'd rather be doing something else. But if you recognize that, then it's probably your mind, your body, your spirit telling you you need to build in more of that. You're building in too much of this that's not feeding your soul, and you need to decide whether or not you're feeding into that. I know this morning I said, well, maybe I'm just going to quit work because I really want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do the other thing. And it was interesting for me because I said, but I really do love doing this. I just think I need to rework the balance.
It's all about balance. It's the airplane oxygen mask going on.
Yep.
You're in tune with what brings you joy, what brings you energy, how are you eating, how are you sleeping, what's the air quality in your house. These are all factors that play a huge role. Most of the people that have no energy are loaded with toxins. They don't know how to detoxify their body. They don't know how to restore health. And they just think that they can go ahead and continue to lead a toxic lifestyle. And when they get sick, they're going to go to the doctor and they're going to get a pill for the ill or a diet for the disease. No, it isn't working anymore. We need to take control and we need to fix our lifestyle, our mindset. We need to make better choices. We need to vote with our dollars because we absolutely can make a difference. Now they have these apps out. It's the seed oil app because, now with Maha, which by the way, I was doing Maha before Maha was a thing. It was make animals healthy again. So I
Mhm.
think it's funny, like make America healthy again. But now we have companies that are letting you know we don't use canola oil, we don't use soy, we have organic meals. So there's more and more companies that are in restaurants and suppliers that are popping up that are producing and providing quality food and products. And people now have choices. And the more we migrate to those businesses and support them, the more the other businesses, it's a matter of supply and demand, they're going to start coming around because they're losing the business. It's just
It's all supply and demand. And if you demand better, if you choose better for yourself and for your pet, because I know that a lot of what you do is helping people start with, because it's really interesting, Marlene, because people might feed their dogs better than they feed themselves.
oh, they do. And they say that. And then I look at them and I go, well, why are you doing that?
You think they want you to do that?
You need to do as much for them and you need to do it for yourself. This is not being a martyr. You're not sacrificing, you're modeling.
Yeah.
And what are you going to model to your children? Are you going to model a healthier lifestyle to them? Because they're watching what you do. So
Right.
you are depriving yourself. If you are acting uh, like you can't love yourself and you can't nurture yourself, well, how do you expect them to figure that out? Right? We have to be that which we want the world to see. We have to be it, do it, and then have it.
That's that is so perfect because if you aren't being present, then you really aren't being. So I love that. Marlene, how can people get in touch with you? How can they read about what you do?
Deborah, we are so excited that as of the end of 2024, the laws in Florida have changed for veterinary practices, and I can now do telemedicine. I
Oh,
can prescribe drugs, which is fine because I don't need them anyway, but I can do telemedicine. So I have a course called the Empowered Pet Parent Course. It's a 3-hour program broken down into 10-minute segments, and it gives you all the foundation that you need to be able to start making these changes and implement for your pets and for yourself. And then once you do that, you can get a consultation with me where I help you with products and recommendations so you can make it easier. And we also have a brand new community, which we are just launching called P to the power of 3. So it's P cubed. And it stands for People, Pets, and the Planet. So P to the power of three. And in our community, people can engage with a lot of other people that are influencers or making big changes in the world. So start with drmarlenesiegel.com, and that's the hub of everything that I'm at. We have courses for veterinarians to learn how to do integrative medicine. We have the pet parent course. We teach them how to do fascia. There's a lot of programs that help pet parents to be empowered to create health for their pets. And it starts with the 6 principles that I teach them. Number 1, stop doing the things that are causing disease. That's food, water, environment, your thoughts, etc. Number 2, make sure you have the essential nutrients that the body needs to do its job. Number 3, heal the leaky gut. Number 4, detoxify all 6 organs of elimination. Number 5 is support the mitochondria so we make the energy that our body needs and the communication between the microbiome and the mitochondria. And then number 6 is clearing trapped emotions. And we kind of touched on that woo-woo side earlier. So that's the 6 principles. It's not a hard thing to do, but it's learning how to implement it. And the most important part is putting yourself into a community where people support you. We don't do this in isolation. So if there's any message I'm getting across right now, and I'm getting chills as I say it, so apparently this is an important message, is that join a community where people will support you. They will hold you up. They will nurture you. They're going to say, yes, we agree with you. We need to make changes. How can we help each other? And that's what P to the power of 3 is going to be.
I love it. And we're going to put all those links in the show notes. Marlene, I am so grateful you came and spoke to Why Do Pets Matter and my audience. And I hope everyone took something away that's going to make their life more present today. So until next time, please make sure you kiss your cat, your dog, your bird, your horse, your snake, your lizard. Love them all. And take care of yourself. Bye now.
Bye.